In a society that values independence and innovation, a paradox often overlooked lurks: the existence of individuals living in the shadows of deep psychological dependence. Dependent personality, often overshadowed by grand narratives of personal success, is a psychological phenomenon that binds someone in a chain of needing assistance and support from others to make decisions and take steps in their lives. Discussing this topic is not merely to add to academic discourse, but to understand and unravel the complexities in social dynamics often undefined, to anchor interventions and effective solutions. In this fast-paced era, a paradoxical scene has emerged. Signs of dependent personality are often subtly painted, hidden behind the curtain of superficial social interactions. Recognizing them requires keenness and empathy, two currencies rarely valued in today's social market. As a conscious society, we must ask, why is this phenomenon so important to discuss? This video will thoroughly delve into the entity of dependent personality, stretching from characteristics to the underlying root of the problem. We will map out the path for those trapped in a tangle of self-doubt to navigate the world with a stronger veil of self-confidence, liberated from the shackles of entwined dependence. What is dependent personality? Dependent personality, or more commonly known in psychological terms as dependent personality disorder, DPD, is a complex psychological condition manifested in chronic behavioral patterns of an individual's inability to separate oneself from the need to be taken care of by others. It's not just momentary emotional dependence that arises in certain situations, but a continuous and debilitating pattern of interaction, limiting autonomy and personal resilience. In the sociocultural context of modern society, the need for independence is often introduced as an inevitable virtue. However, as we peel layer after layer of the phenomenon of dependent personality, we find a provocative paradox: that every individual at some point depends on others, whether economically, emotionally, or intellectually. The problem arises when this dependence becomes distorted, leading individuals to lose the ability to make decisions for themselves, constantly seeking validation from others, and harboring a deep fear of rejection and loneliness. Manifestations of DPD can be found in tumultuous relationships where there is hyperbolic attachment and imbalance in giving and receiving support. Individuals with DPD often make others their existential anchor, without which they would drown in a sea of self-doubt. They feel helpless, unable to cope with daily life without sustained assistance, resulting in bonds that seem to shackle them. In exploring this phenomenon, we must be critical and careful not to fall into the trap of derogation or stigmatization. Dependent personality is the result of complex interactions between genetics, childhood experiences, and environmental factors influencing individual psychological development. Therefore, it is important for us to approach it with deep understanding and empathy, acknowledging that personality disorders, such as DPD, require a holistic therapeutic approach to support individuals in achieving greater autonomy and a better quality of life. This awareness unveils the veil of commonly presented generalizations. It fosters conversation rather than ridiculous weaknesses. It bridges gaps and appreciates the complexity and nobility of humanity. In this video, we are invited to participate in critical exploration and delve deeper into what dependent personality is, how it forms, affects someone's life, and what we can do to help those living with this serious challenge. Why do we need to discuss dependent personality? Discussing DPD is not only important for clinical psychology understanding, but also for the well-being of the wider society. First, its significant prevalence. International research data shows that DPD affects a considerable portion of the population, with some studies reporting figures ranging from 0.5% to 2.5% of the general population. While this percentage may seem small, it represents millions of individuals whose daily lives are disrupted by constant needs for support. Second, DPD is often misunderstood and underdiagnosed. Research indicates that DPD is often overshadowed by other mental health issues or personality disorders, thus often not receiving the necessary attention. In-depth discussion of DPD helps increase awareness and understanding, which in turn facilitates detection and appropriate interventions. Third, DPD can have severe impacts on interpersonal relationships and social functioning. Individuals with DPD tend to be emotionally dependent and often need constant affirmation from others, which can lead to unhealthy relational dynamics, such as manipulative or overly dependent relationships. Discussing DPD highlights the importance of balance and dependency and provides strategies for achieving personal autonomy. Lastly, discussing DPD expands understanding of the influence of genetics and the environment. Genetic risk, childhood experiences, and socioeconomic factors all play a role in the development of DPD, formulating a complex discourse, challenging simplistic views of personality disorders. In summary, the importance of discussing dependent personality lies in the real impacts it has on individuals and society, the opportunity to provide a better therapeutic support, and the expansion of psychological knowledge beneficial to mental health professions and behavioral science research. Research data. Research data from various international studies indicate that the prevalence of DPD ranges from 0.5% to 2.5% of the general population. This research notes a significant discrepancy in prevalence based on gender, with women being more frequently diagnosed than men, a fact that triggers critical debates about the potential gender bias in psychiatric diagnostics. In terms of etiology, researchers have identified genetic, environmental, and social learning factors contributing to the development of DPD. For example, some studies using twin study methods indicate a significant hereditary component, while other findings emphasize childhood trauma and overprotective or inconsistent caregiving experiences as primary triggers. However, criticism of this research cannot be ignored. Skeptics raise issues with methodology, especially sample bias tendencies, reliance on subjective self-reporting, and the absence of culture-specific norms in measurement instrumentation. One area of particular concern is the interpretation and application of cross-cultural research, which often overlooks how culture can influence the expression and acceptance of dependent behaviors. Despite this criticism, existing data has driven the development of targeted psychotherapeutic interventions for DPD. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for example, has been successfully used to help individuals with DPD develop assertiveness skills and self-confidence, while relationship-focused therapy aims to improve unhealthy attachment patterns. In conclusion, while research on dependent personality has yielded significant insights into underlying factors and effective treatments, ongoing debates about methodology and interpretation of research findings remain crucial points for further examination. Dependence on cultural, gender, and socio-economic variables demands a holistic approach in future research to unravel the complex dynamics of this disorder and its sensitive and inclusive handling. Signs of dependent personality. 1. Difficulty making decisions. Individuals with DPD often struggle to make daily decisions without much advice and confirmation from others. Examples in daily life may include the inability to choose a menu at a restaurant without asking for opinions from friends or family. 2. Excessive need for guidance. They tend to lack confidence in their own abilities and always seek others to lead or provide guidance. For instance, someone may not take the initiative to seek a new job without constant encouragement and support from close ones. 3. Fear of abandonment. An individual with DPD will do anything to maintain close relationships, as the idea of being abandoned or having to be independent is very frightening to them. This can be seen when someone continuously calls or sends messages to their partner throughout the day out of fear of being left alone. 4. Difficulty expressing disagreement. They often have difficulty expressing dissenting opinions or disagreements because of fear of losing support or approval. For example, someone may agree with all decisions made by their partner even though they actually disagree. 5. Self-inefficiency. Feeling incapable of facing life independently without the help of others is common. For instance, individuals may continue to live with their parents into late adulthood because they feel unable to take care of themselves. 6. Need for constant nurturing and reassurance. They tend to require continuous reassurance and attention from others to feel calm. A friend with DPD may need repeated assurances that their friendship is strong and that their friend is not angry or disappointed with them. 7. Dependency in relationships. Individuals with DPD tend to rely extremely on others, often alternating from one dependent relationship to another. For example, someone may immediately engage in another romantic relationship after one ends to avoid facing loneliness. Considering these signs, it's important to remember that symptoms of dependent personality may look different in each individual and are influenced by various social and cultural factors. Handling DPD usually involves psychological therapy, where individuals can develop skills and self-confidence to face life independently. It's important to address DPD with a holistic and empathetic approach, appreciating the complexity of one's experiences and avoiding stigmatization. This requires cultural sensitivity and awareness of power dynamics in relationships that may reinforce dependence. Solutions to overcoming dependent personality are a complex process that requires self-awareness, behavioral changes, and often professional assistance. Here are some strategies that can be used. 1. Self-empowerment. Start by building self-confidence. Individuals should encourage themselves to take responsibility and engage in new activities without relying on others. Break down goals into practical steps to build a sense of achievement and self-confidence. 2. Decision-making. Practice making small decisions independently. By starting with less intimidating situations, the ability to make decisions can grow, gradually applied to larger and more important decisions. 3. Social skills. Develop healthier social skills. Individuals with dependent personality often need reinforcement in social skills to interact with others in a more balanced and independent manner. 4. Therapy. Counseling or psychotherapy can be very helpful. Therapists or counselors can provide guidance and strategies to help individuals recognize and change thought patterns and behaviors that support dependence. 5. Independence support. Seek out support groups or friends who support independence. Building relationships with people who emphasize personal growth can encourage long-term change. 6. Boundary setting. Learn to recognize and establish healthy personal boundaries. This includes the ability to say no and stand firm on one's own interests. 7. Hobby and interest development. Encourage individuals to explore and develop their own interests and hobbies to strengthen their sense of being a whole and independent individual. 8. Overcoming fears. Focus on the reasons behind the fear of rejection or failure. Learning and therapy can help confront and overcome these fears. 9. Gradual responsibility. Creating opportunities to take on responsibilities gradually can provide experiences that equip individuals with the courage and skills to be more independent. Criticism of handling personality dependence often revolves around individuals' tendency to overly rely on therapy or guidance from experts without developing real resilience and self-confidence. Effective solutions should be driven from within, where individuals not only follow directions but also actively engage in their own behavioral change process. The role of social support is also important, as individuals need to have a network that will support them without reinforcing dependence. It's important to emphasize that overcoming dependent personality is an ongoing process that requires commitment and patience and does not happen overnight. The key to success lies in the individual's courage to face the discomfort that comes with change and their willingness to continue learning from experience. Until we meet again, hope this is helpful. Thank you.